All right, third time is the charm, apparently, here on Nerds by Screenlight. My name is Aaron.
I am Phil.
I'm Zoe.
I'm Vicki, the problem child.
It's me.
I'm the problem, it's me. Good old Taylor Swift. So it is Thanksgiving week. We are recording this on Sunday, but I think we're going to probably put this episode out probably like Wednesday, so it's closer to Thanksgiving. So because it's like those TV shows that like have their Christmas episode, and they record it like in July, and it's like it's clearly not Christmas.
No.
So actually, the get to know you question of the day was going to be like, what are you thankful for in life or in movies or whatever? But here's the thing: I'm going to give you another option or another out. If there's a show that you remember that had a really great Christmas episode that you can remember. If you can, it's okay, but I wanted to throw that in there because it is there. So it used to be, and it sort of is the case now, a lot of television shows would have a Christmas episode. Yeah. Like when December rolled around, they would have tonight on ER. It's the Christmas episode, and there's like some Christmassy like hijinks that happen, and so there's Christmas trees and everything like that, and it's Christmassy themed because that's what American television had to do. I don't know if they do it as much anymore because obviously everything's streaming.
True.
But I'm sure there is. I just I don't see it. So, what are you thankful for? It can be movies, film, shows, life, music, or just life in general. Or what is your favorite Christmas episode of a television show? And I'll start, so I'll give you some time to think.
Thank you.
My favorite Christmas episodes are definitely in the ER world. I loved the show ER, still love it to this day. And first things first, if you've never watched ER, you need to watch ER. You need to watch at least the first 10 seasons. It is one of the greatest written, well-written TV shows in a long time. Yeah. The characters were written, their voices were very distinct in how they talked and how they engaged. Obviously, the early shows with George Clooney and all those guys, like it was an incredible show. Still was in later years, and then it ended on a high note.
Well, that's good.
But it started to really kind of people were just like, okay, come on.
Didn't a lot of people die, or am I thinking of Grey's Anatomy?
A lot of people die in Grey's Anatomy.
People die in ER, too.
Yeah, so there's some deaths in ER. But some people just left the show,
okay.
or they did their good kind of their character arc. But yeah, Lucy McKnight, her character dies on ER.
Who's the main doctor with cancer? I think it was cancer.
It was. Yeah, that was Dr. Mark Green.
That one stick with.
It was his brain cancer, and that was a really hard episode arc. And then there was a couple other characters who did die. And some of them were like, I got it. Like, I was like, okay, whatever. But it started to feel like it was just they were having to kill characters off because they could. And it was just
this isn't the mafia.
Right. Well, and the same thing happened in like The Walking Dead where they
ruined it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it was bad. Like when they took Glenn from us, then they faked it out the first time, and then we're just like, okay, you know what, jerks.
Right.
And then they did it for real the next time. And then when they took Rick Grimes lives, but his son dies.
Right, like what?
And it was such a betrayal because it was such a dumb death. Mm-hmm. There was no real weight to it. There was no real point.
Right.
It was just like, oh, we're gonna have him die then. It was just like,
but why?
Yeah, y'all are done.
Writing used to be so much better.
Yeah,
the first two seasons were bomb.
That first season of Walking Dead.
Yes.
Okay, so I am thankful for that. Like with The Walking Dead, that season 1, season 2, it kind of starts to wobble in like 5 and 6. It gets back on its tracks, but then the last season is it's disappointing.
Yeah. That's about the time I stopped watching, but I'm like one of those weird half watchers because I can't really do horror very well.
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's so good.
That first episode of Walking Dead season 1,
it was like
it's the tension is perfect, the uneasiness is perfect. Yeah. Not everyone's likable. You don't know what's going on. There's a lot of chaos. So I'm thankful for good shows like that. But anyway, so ER had all the great Christmas episodes, and my favorite, there was an episode where it was a big old snowstorm. So there was a snowstorm, and like nobody was in the hospital because it's dead at night or whatever. And then all of a sudden, there was a massive pileup on a highway, and and county was the only one open. And so there's this moment where, like they're doing like chair hockey, and like the emergency dispatch machine or whatever communication thing goes off in the ER, like meh, 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 meh. And someone goes, "Hey, this is county. What do you got?" And they're like, "We've got incoming. And how many you get? You're getting all of them." And so there's this moment where the music starts to go, and they go, "Okay, everyone, let's do it. Let's get to work." And everyone just starts pulling all the stuff, getting stuff ready, and they're standing just inside the ambulance bay, waiting, and you hear the sirens, and you see it, and it's just, and then it hits, and it's on, like boom, 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 and the end is like there's Christmas stuff that happens, and there's like trees. It's such good television. I miss it. I miss just watching and going, what are they going to do this time? How are they going to pull this? Oh, man, that's really great television. Oh, it's great stuff. They knew how to do it and make it matter and make it have weight. And I love ER Christmas episodes. I think Gilmore Girls had a couple of Christmas episodes as well that I don't remember them offhand. I couldn't mention them. But special mention or honorable mention goes to the Gilmore Girls holiday special. But yeah, so I'm thankful for good, like having access to old school television and old school movies because I don't know, I like it a lot.
Yeah.
All right, who's next?
Nice. I guess I'll go.
Okay.
So the media thing that I'm thankful for is the strikes ending.
Yes.
So
the acting strikes.
We're not going to have another reality show TV
Thank
surge.
goodness.
Yeah.
And for my favorite Christmas episodes, can I have 2?
Yes, you can. I'll allow it.
Thank you. I'm thankful for that, Aaron.
I'm gonna buy myself a gavel so that when I do make it, it's like lawyer stuff.
Okay, so the one I'm going to start off with is Friends, the one with the holiday armadillo.
What?
In Friends,
remember
Ross
that.
couldn't find a Santa Claus outfit, or they
Yeah.
couldn't get Santa Claus, and the next best thing is Ross gets armadillo.
Of course he does.
And so he's
Ross.
like, it's the holiday armadillo. So I love that episode. And then maybe not second favorite. This is probably my favorite Christmas episode is that 70s show one where they go and they like Red and Kitty tell Eric to go and get a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
And they chop it down out of the national forest. And then the cops come and claim it. Like, they're like, you've committed a crime. We got to take this tree. And Kitty freaks out. She's like, you're not taking my tree. Like, and it's this massive tree.
And she's so tiny.
Yeah. And she's like, yeah. It's so good. I love those.
Okay.
And both of those series, those shows, they all have really good Thanksgiving and Christmas episodes.
Isn't there an episode on Friends where Rachel gets her head stuck in a turkey?
Yeah,
That's what I
that
was
was a
thinking.
Thanksgiving
I was gonna
episode.
talk
Yeah,
about
yeah.
Which is a send-up of the original Mr. Bean show where Mr. Bean got his head stuck in a turkey because he had to get his watch out of it and he couldn't get it.
Yeah.
Of course.
She starts doing these fun dance moves, I think.
Yeah.
Which is, I kind of relate to that. I feel like if I was stuck in a turkey, I would just make
I-
the most of it. I don't know.
I would be freaking out. I don't do well in enclosed spaces, and that's the ultimate enclosed space.
We'll turn up the music. I'll make it fun.
You turn up the music. I'm gonna panic. Play some Panic at the Disco. Play some Panic at the Disco because that's what I'm doing.
And stuff.
Yeah, I don't enjoy it.
No.
Okay, y'all on the other side of the table.
Is that why you don't like traffic?
That's part of it. Yeah, traffic just makes me
why you
traffic just
traffic
traffic just makes me homicidal.
connected.
I can see that, Aaron, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't like traffic. I just know.
Yeah, I mean, no one does, but you
Yeah.
really don't like it.
I mean, I don't go into like road rage. I count to 10.
I can time when he complains about traffic down to the exit.
we
I
hit-
looked at Justine and I'm like, 2 minutes.
Yeah,
And she'll cue. He goes, I don't miss traffic.
yeah.
Just look at her and start laughing.
It's about at the Brighton exit on I-76, and I'm just like, here we go.
I just
I
looked
feel-
at her and we started giggling.
So anyway, there you go. There's another insight into the world of us in Fort Morgan and the battles we have on the roads with Denver traffic.
It's not the same.
No.
Nope.
I don't know, though. Our traffic is getting a little crazy
Yeah.
in
Well,
town.
people don't know. They don't drive.
No.
They don't look. They don't yield. They
none of the
just. What do you? They haul. That's how you
Yeah.
word it, Aaron.
Yep. They haul. Oh well. Okay.
Okay, moving on because now
Little
I'm
tangent.
like,
Pivot back.
I would have to say I am grateful for music,
Mm-hmm.
period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has been a really big part of my life since I was 5. I've been in a recording studio
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
with my parents, and then we started a band when I was about 12. I wrote my first song. So it's just been a really impactful thing in my life, and it helped me at a young age like work through my emotions.
Yeah.
Because kids, if you're listening, I didn't have social emotional learning in high school, so I had to learn all those things by myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'm really thankful for music, and I still am.
Yep.
So, yeah.
All right, Vicki, you're up.
And to piggyback, I mean, I'm grateful for music too. It's, like my high school years were not easy. And for me, music was a way of being able to express my emotions
Yeah.
and deal with things going on in my house.
Yeah.
Where I wasn't talking about otherwise, like music. And it wasn't necessarily my escape. It was my way of like dealing with it.
Yeah.
And it continues to be like a really good way of processing. As far as like Christmas episodes, I don't really go in that camp. The only thing that comes to mind, I used to be a big fan of The Mentalist.
Yeah.
Which,
Good show.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I don't watch it, but it's a good show.
We've had debates. Because Aaron is Team Psych
Really?
and I'm Team The Mentalist.
I like to be able to laugh at stuff like that, like show, because I don't like. I mean,
It's very serious.
yeah, and I don't enjoy serious. I mean, I enjoy
But
serious.
like there's quirkiness to it as well, but it's different.
Yeah.
They're both well, like the Psych is like he's faking it and it's very
He's
goofy and
manipulative.
humorous.
Yeah.
Whereas like this is a lot darker. Where like he
Yeah.
used to be fake and he's not anymore because a serial killer killed his family.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
And now he's like
Now I wanna look
basically
this
but
up.
now he's like serving the police for like a good cause. Like he's all tells them I'm not a psychic, this is fake.
Yeah.
But he uses his observation skills to like
Is it
help.
on Netflix?
Probably not. Probably on CBS
no.
All Access because
Okay.
it's a CBS show. I think it was.
I had a friend with like all the TV episodes when I was overseas, and we all got on the train with The Mentalist and watched together. And at the time, they're trying to guess who like the main serial killer was. That he was Red John was his name, and we all had guesses about who he was. And when we were overseas, we found out, and I guessed it right.
Oh, nice.
Good job.
Thank you.
Look at you.
My triumph
Ooh,
moment.
okay.
There you go.
7 seasons.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's exciting.
So
Okay.
the last one's not very good though. Heads up.
Okay.
So you can stop
It's
watching
usually
at the
how
end
it
because
goes.
number 6.
Yeah. That last season is either really great or just like
It
what were you
wasn't. I mean,
doing?
I still watched it because I watched it to the end. I
Yeah,
saw every single episode.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
Yeah.
On the next when we record the next episode at some point, either the next week or whenever, we're gonna do our favorite Christmas movies.
Yay.
Because that's going to require time to study and require lists. So I wasn't going to spring that on you today. I
Appreciate
figured
that.
we can wait. We can wait for that. However, at some point between now and Christmas, we will need to actually watch The Muppet Christmas Carol
Yes.
and have a show about that.
because it's really really good.
It's one of my favorite Christmas movies, if not my favorite Christmas movie of all time, because it's picture perfect. All right, when we come back, we're gonna take on the first Naked Gun movie from the Police Squad files with Leslie Nielsen and a cast of characters. And I have a feeling, based on our off-air conversation, we're going to swerve into some more serious criticism of this movie, which I am all for and I'm open to.
We need
to
the
be
female
clear.
perspective.
It does, and we'll talk a little bit about that. So hold on, buckle in, grab a cup of tea or two, or 3 if you can handle it, and we'll be back here on Nerds by Screenlight in just a moment.
Get nerdy with me. Talk nerdy to me. Get nerdy with me. All I really need for you to do is just please
I can stop.
talk to me. Talk nerdy to me.
All right, welcome back to Nerds by Screenlight. My name is Aaron,
I'm Phil.
I'm Zoe.
And Vicki,
and we're currently processing a cake situation.
Cake.
Yeah, Zoe is
happy
very.
birthday to us.
Happy birthday to you!
Oh my.
Happy birthday!
No,
Never again.
it's just scary.
I can do it
like people singing happy birthday to me on the best of occasions. Fuel my nightmares.
I could do it like an hour, like happy birthday.
Back
Lord.
to the opera.
I like that accent though; it's kind of fun. But I won't wish you happy birthday with it. Okay? All right. Good luck.
We're Southerners. You got to do this.
Don't try to scare me with your accent
Anyway,
anymore. I come
all right,
back at
well,
you.
Well, Vicki cuts the cake for the 2 birthdays we had in the month of November. It was Vicki and Zoe, if I believe I'm correct on that.
We're like 4 days apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Scorpios rule.
Woo!
We're not evil like everyone thinks
That's
we are.
right.
And there's a song by Weird Al Yankovic called. Actually, I can find it.
Oh my god! So Scorpio's
gosh.
like something like, if people hate you, kill them. Or what is it? What does it say about Scorpios? Find it, Aaron.
Hold
find
on,
it.
I'm gonna find it.
I'm scared.
It's funny. It's completely inaccurate, and it's great.
Is it called? It's signs.
It's like something about horror. That's your horoscope for
Oh, yeah,
today.
horoscope for today,
Oh
yeah.
my lance.
All right, so I can't play
great.
all of it.
Yeah, copyright.
Oh my
I'll
god.
come for you.
This is like the most moist cake I've ever had in my life.
Yay!
All right, be ready. I'm gonna have to hit the volume on this thing.
I don't think there's anyone in this room that hates the word moist. Is there?
Moist. I don't know. I don't know.
My
Okay,
sister
I'm
hates it.
gonna put us on pause. So if you're listening to this, you need to go to YouTube and look up Weird Al Yankovic, your horoscope for today. I can't play it because it'll be copyrighted. So stick with us. Go listen to it and then come back and we'll talk about the reaction. All right, so we just listened to That's Your Horoscope for Today from Weird Al Yankovic.
It's a bop.
It's a bop. It is
Yeah.
absolutely. Now here's the thing. Scientifically, horoscopes mean absolutely nothing. There's not a lot of basis in them. But I will never shame people if you do enjoy your horoscopes.
Although there was this one time, a good friend of ours was like, "Oh, all Scorpios are evil. That's why my sister's twins are weird." And I looked at her and I was like, "I'm a Scorpio," and she was like, "Really?" Maybe I'm wrong, and Aaron's like, "Yes."
You were wrong.
Yeah. So yeah, that's
It's pretty good.
yeah. So Weird Al Yankovic is one of my favorite artists. Because we listened to The Night Santa Went Crazy on this podcast a little bit ago, some time ago in the episodes. All right, so now it's time to talk about Naked Gun from the Police Squad Files. Now, to be fair in information wise, it actually started as a TV series called Police Squad, and so it was a one season. If you go and YouTube it, you can find episodes. I think you can actually buy episodes online or whatever. It is just as crazy and weird and wild as the movie, but it's more contained for a television audience. The thing about
It goes off the rails
Yeah,
as a
it
movie.
really-
Completely off the rails.
yeah, the movie's crazy, but the television series is even more is crazy. So what it is it's based on the idea that visual jokes, visual gags. It's also based in the kind of the police noir kind of. So that's why a lot of what we're going to talk about, what we were kind of upset about in some cases, it's played up because of the genre that the movie is based on, and it's basically parodying. In some ways, at the time that it was made, which was the early '80s, it was a pretty good time for that kind of movie.
In the heat of the night, was it still on at that time?
I couldn't
That's
tell
the one
you.
that comes to mind.
Yeah, so
There are others too.
but this is more making fun of the Joe Friday Crumb.
I've never heard
Wow.
anyone say that.
I haven't either. Crumb.
This is bad. Joe Friday was on Dragnet. So it's making fun of the Dragnet. So if you've ever watched the old school Dragnet, which you should, and it's
We're not 80s babies.
I missed it as well.
We're 90s babies.
You're all a bunch of communists.
Girl.
So
Girl.
the idea behind Dragnet is that it's very noir. It's it's Sergeant Joe Friday reporting today, December 9th, 1947, the call, murder, the scene, Hollywood. And so it's very much parodying
Okay,
that.
I can see that now.
So when Leslie Nielsen is acting and saying these things, he's doing it very much to make fun of the Dragnet shows. And there were a lot of cop shows on television in the 40s, 50s, and even early 60s. That was just how it was. So
yeah, I would say this is like the scary movie version of cop movies.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so it
Makes
through
sense.
the lens of 2023, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
It didn't age well. I'll just say that.
Yeah, it did not.
I think you have to. It's helpful to go into this movie to don't take anything seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And she did.
I did.
So we did, and that's fine. And I'm really interested to see that perspective because
Yeah.
so this is the thing we talk a lot about on the show about movies that we watch, and we have to look through that lens of 2023. And sometimes we have to take that lens and put it in storage and look through it without that lens, and it's so super hard because we've gone through a lot in our lifetimes with problematic stuff and image movies and stuff like that. So we qualify the following deep dive with the understanding that this movie was made in 88.
Yeah.
Whew. So I wasn't
even born yet.
I was 4 years old at that point. 82 to 88. Yeah, I was 4 years old.
Non-existent.
So there you go.
You'd be 6, Aaron.
Huh? 6. Okay, 6 years old. I can't do math.
I would be 4. I was like, you're
I'm
a
a
year and a half older than me. This math isn't
I'm a
adding
language
up.
arts teacher. I don't do math.
I think
Okay, so
all right.
all right. Well, hopefully it holds. Let's just cross our fingers. So anyway, so we go into this with that understanding that there's some things.
I told Zoe it's like you got to think like a 13-year-old boy.
But I'm not a 13-year-old.
You have to
Really
pretend.
awkward and painful. And
Yes, all the above.
Yeah. So we
Gross.
start out the opening scene to this movie. So every one of the movies has its opening scene. So that there's 3 Naked Gun movies, and there's also so they did the Naked Gun movies. They also did a bunch of other parody movies as well.
Airplane is one I'm curious about.
Airplane. It was where it kind of all began, I think. So the opening scene is in the Middle East with all of the terrible Middle East dictators. And so Gaddafi's there.
Saddam Hussein
is there. Arafat is there.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they're all actors playing the role.
Of course.
And so Frank Durbin is undercover, and so they're all plotting the death of America. And we're going to kill America. We got the one last terrorist attack. Whatever, yada yada yada. And so then
it starts off completely randomly.
Yeah, and so then I think his name is Kanan Nenmi, whatever, the guy from Iran, the big old bearded dude from Iran.
Yeah.
He's like, and then Leslie Nielsen's, or I guess Frank Durbin, puts the steaming teapot on his hand. He goes, ah! And then he takes off his hand. Frank Durbin, police squad. And
the music starts. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, he just starts punching everybody.
Scooby-Doo fight.
Yeah,
basically.
Accurate.
He does.
Or like the old school Batman TV show. Did you guys ever see those?
Pow.
Where pow,
I
bang.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's a whole fight there, and he knocks all of them out, and then he gets to the window and he says, "Don't let me catch you," and then the door shuts on his face. Or whatever. He
Stay
falls
out of America. But then he falls out the window.
And that's how that movie starts.
Yeah, a cop overseas handling
Yeah.
foreign affairs.
And then the credit sequence
This is one of my favorite credit sequences.
the police car going through the streets like normal,
Yeah.
and then it's
It
inside
gets
a
real.
house.
It doesn't make any sense.
It's in a restaurant.
It's on a roller coaster.
roller coaster.
It's in the girls'
everywhere.
locker room. This is where it starts to get a little bit
a
like.
little bit weird.
Yes.
Yeah, and so it was the idea obviously behind this is it's a parody of. So if you watch a lot of the old school cop shows, if you go on YouTube and you watch cop shows from the 40s or 50s or whatever, that siren in that car, that's their intro sequence.
Yeah. I mean,
So
that makes
Car
sense.
54, Where Are You? That was a cop show that had that like that. That was the thing. So the thing about these movies from the 80s is sometimes context. You don't have it.
Right, yeah.
And that's the
Yeah.
part that sucks, is that I at least have it because I know that and I've watched those shows and I have an
Whereas
understanding.
I watched it and I was like, "What is it? What? It's in a house?
Yeah.
It's on a roller coaster?" And Aaron is like dying laughing.
Yeah.
And
So there's the other thing is that in the 80s, in 88, everyone would have understood these jokes.
Right.
The audience in the theater would have been laughing their heads off at every turn of this movie because it was parodying so hard what it was doing. The other thing that is, if you don't watch, if you lose attention for a second,
Yeah.
you miss like 5 jokes.
Yep.
It's true.
Because I looked down a couple times and I'm like, wait, what just happened?
Like when he's on the sidewalk and suddenly he's in the middle of the woods. Where am I?
Right,
That's an
yeah.
example of that where you have to keep watching.
Yeah.
It's very much like rapid fire. And
Yeah.
so the guys who produced this, I got to remember their names because I don't remember it offhand. So the Zucker brothers. So Jerry Zucker and David Zucker.
Wait.
Okay.
Not
What?
the Stranger Things guys.
No.
No, I'm mixing it up with some Zucker brothers. What else have they done?
They were these guys were the old school comedian directors and producers. These are not the Zucker brothers, you know. These
Okay.
these are not modern
Just
Zucker
mixed
brothers.
them up in my head.
Yeah,
You know,
those
like
are those are the Duffel brothers.
oh,
The Duffer brothers.
all Stranger Things fans are gonna come for me now.
The brothers.
Yeah. So the Zucker.
Sorry.
The Zucker brothers were the two writers on it. They also they wrote Police Squad, the TV show.
Okay.
So this is their jam. They write these jokes into every screen time, every scene.
There's always little Easter egg jokes in the background.
Yeah. That
too, like-
you catch and you catch on the second viewing and you're like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I missed that, or oh my gosh, that's so hilarious.
Is it weird to say that I might have liked it better as a TV show?
Probably. So I think
Like with a laugh track over
yeah.
it. Like,
Yeah.
it didn't have a laugh track.
Oh, really?
Nope, didn't have a laugh track.
Interesting.
It's a lot of fun. So then he travels back to the United States. And it's interesting, and you probably know this. Every Naked Gun movie, the 3 Naked Gun movies, Weird Al Yankovic actually makes an appearance in all 3.
Yeah.
Huh.
I've never seen the third one, but I've seen the second.
Yeah, he's in
I've
it.
Noticed.
So Frank Durbin's plane arrives. He gets off the plane, and there's like a press
That's
podium.
not even for him.
It's not even for him. And
Like
that's
Frank, they're not here for you.
Weird Al Yankovic's on the plane.
Is this the school counselor dude? Just like, I feel so bad for you. That's what's happening. I can see it.
Zoe is losing her mind throughout this whole movie.
You know who my favorite character is?
What?
His partner or whatever.
Right.
Who's always calling him out like, no, you can't do that, Frank. Like,
Right.
no.
Yeah.
That would be me.
Right. It's just, and I think he's employed in the movie to kind of give us an audience surrogate, so that we can be like, okay, we're not crazy. Frank Durbin is nuts.
Yes, I am thankful for that character
What,
very much.
what did he mean when he goes? He's like, he's got a 50% chance to live, and 10% of that isn't.
There's a 10% chance of that. So
Yeah.
it's basically the joke about percentage. Like he's got a 50% chance of living, and there's a 10% chance of that. And it's just that joke.
I just
about,
went, doesn't make
I was
sense.
just like, what?
It's a joke about percentages. Like people
Okay.
talk about like, oh well, there's 10% of this, whatever. It's again, it's so multi-layered. You have to be paying attention.
Yes.
And that's again, I will stand on this and I will die on this hill. I'll stand on this hill. I'll sit on this hill. I'll die on this hill. I will roll down on this hill.
Roll down.
The comedy of the '80s, when it was done well and smart and intelligent, you couldn't look away.
Right.
You had to pay attention and you had to be engaged with the film because it demanded you to do it. You look at comedies today and it's all gross out humor and it's not really intelligent or it doesn't really have a point. But that's neither here nor there. That's just a personal perspective. We're moving on because I'm going to get into it. I'm going to get excited.
They're gonna come for you, Aaron.
Well, they bring it. Let's go.
Okay.
Welcome to the party, pal.
I mean, come on, O.J. Simpson is in this
Okay,
movie.
so
Yeah, okay, I was waiting to bring that up. We have to talk
That's
about
the
the
other
fact
thing we gotta talk
that
about.
O.J. Simpson is in this
So
film.
now this is the.
Sorry.
No, it's fine because he's in all three. So
He's in all three?
What?
yes. So
Yeah.
here's the thing. This is before O.J. Simpson's trial. This is far before anything was known. And there was no any issues before this. He was actually an actor. He was an actor in a lot of movies.
I just
blows
think of
my
him as a
mind.
football player.
He was involved in all the media.
I thought this was just like a cameo film
Nope.
where it's like, I'm a celebrity. Can I be in your movie?
Nope.
You know,
OJ was in.
He'd
all
have to
three.
be down bad to volunteer to be in this. Though.
Yeah.
I mean,
He got messed up.
Yeah, he's in all three. He is, and he wasn't obviously in the TV series, I don't think, but there was another character person who played him. But yeah, OJ is in all three movies. He's a character, but he doesn't play. He's the one who's always getting injured.
Right.
He's always either like off to the sidelines or something bad. So he's not an actual engaged in the full acting whatever because
Fair.
he was a football player. But this is the one thing that people have to reconcile. This is before we knew anything. This was like at least I would say 20 years, 15, 20 years before Nicole. That happened in the trial and everything like that.
Or before at least we knew.
Right. And, that you have to look at that and go, okay, awkward, but here we are.
But he is getting beat up a lot.
Yeah.
So there's
He gets
that.
Leslie's butt in his face.
Yeah.
Deserves it.
it's a win-win
Jeez.
situation.
It's a win-win situation. You're allowed to take
Maybe
pleasure in it.
Scorpios are a little evil.
Yeah, take pleasure in his pain. So he...
Because we're the best. Sorry. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm so sick of people saying stuff like that because
Yeah.
I even had a conversation with my dentist about this because he's also
What?
a Scorpio. I think his birthday's the same as yours, actually.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, he's like, why do people say that? We're extremely loyal and like we care about people.
You're
and-
passionate.
yeah, and I'm like, I agree.
That's your horoscope for today. Okay. So
All right.
police squad is put in charge of Queen Elizabeth II's visit,
Yeah.
which is going to go.
Which that girl looks just like Queen Elizabeth.
They did a
like,
good
in
job
the
with that.
80s, like,
Yeah, they did a good job of getting the actress to
because
pull
I
it off.
almost like I did a double take. Like, is that really her? Would she do
They
that?
did a good
Like,
job.
Yeah, they did a really good
It's
job.
like, no way. No way.
So Nordberg the OJ's character is under suspicion. His jacket tested positive for heroin, and so the main bad guy in this movie is none other than Ricardo Montalban.
Yeah.
The guy who played Khan. And what's interesting is he played Khan in Star Trek Wrath of Khan before this. That role got him this role.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of a cool thing and he's very much dressed like a businessman, but he's very menacing and very
He's
evil.
got a lionfish.
Oh my god.
I
is that
mean,
it?
one of the most poisonous fish.
that
Yeah.
entire
Oh my God.
scene.
When that scene came on and he stuck his hand in there, I was like, oh my gosh. Number
I
one,
know.
all those fish would have died.
Yeah.
You can't just stick your hand in a saltwater fish tank like that.
And then he acts like
Oh.
nothing happened. Like, oh yeah, I'm fine.
And I'm pretty sure that there's a scene almost exactly. A lot of these jokes in this first movie
Yeah.
are also done in the second movie also.
Okay.
I'm
Okay,
pretty
then I
sure because
couldn't
like I'm watching it and I'm like, this is so familiar. Like the fact that he cannot drive.
Yeah.
And blames other people for his car crashing
Oh,
into
you
things.
didn't want to get the plates on that car.
He's like,
Anyone?
stop with his like little ID out. Like,
Dude, Frank is like, he's a know-it-all that knows nothing.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Like,
That's accurate.
Yeah, that's very accurate. So yeah, Frank Durbin, you have to accept the fact that
He's an idiot.
He's an
He
idiot.
is stupid.
But it's in my view, it's fun to watch him idiot himself up. Like the amping of the idiocy just continues, and it's just like, okay, what's Durbin gonna do next? What's his car gonna do next? Oh, he's gonna hit all the painters on the scaffolding, and they're all gonna fall down.
Who's gonna fall first?
Yeah,
real.
it's
Would
fantastic.
you like to come in for a nightcap? No, I never wear those. I'm like, he's like that through all the movies too.
Yeah, it's
Like
just.
I don't know how he keeps a straight face. That's the part that impresses me the most.
Leslie
Yeah.
Nielsen was an incredible actor. I mean, he played funny, duddy characters, but Leslie Nielsen was a pretty smart dude. He was he made a career out of this. Dude, he made Dracula Dead and Loving It. He made Wrongfully Accused. I mean, some of those movies were not as good as the other ones, but he made a lot of them, and he is one of the greatest comedic actors of our time.
Do you
Yeah.
know the Exorcist one that I'm thinking about? That he's in. It's literally a parody of The Exorcist.
Oh,
And he's the priest. And
Oh
it's,
my gosh.
It's oh my god. I
Oh
love that
no.
movie.
I think it's one of his last movies that he did,
Like
actually.
Devil in a Blue Dress or something like that. But it's amazing.
Okay,
Sorry.
we'll come back to that at the end. So the other thing is we have who is her girlfriend is
That poor girl.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. So then he finds evidence. So so his assistant Jane. So Jane is played by, I believe,
Hope somebody who had better movies.
Priscilla
after that.
Presley,
Priscilla.
if you can believe it. So the woman who married Elvis Presley plays Jane.
That's
In
his wife?
No, that's his girlfriend in the movie. That's not Leslie Nielsen's wife, but that's
No, I'm
that-
catching it's Elvis's
yeah,
wife.
That's it's Priscilla Presley. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
She's wearing a wig.
Okay.
yeah. Oh yeah,
She's definitely wearing a wig.
yeah. But Priscilla Presley is
But
all,
that adds a whole nother layer.
she's
It does.
She's in all three movies. She played
my mind is being blown right now.
Priscilla Presley. Who that's
It's a weird music crossover.
That is, yeah.
Yep, it is. But she made it was a great acting choice. She plays that role. So the role. So this is where I think Zoe probably got cranky, is that Jane is not played for intelligence.
No.
No.
And part of
Or
it.
Grace, for that matter.
Runs into the
Yeah,
door.
when she's first introduced, she's walking down steps, immediately falls down the steps, and then stands up and slams her head into the wall.
See, for me though, I watched that and I was like, oh, it's the weird thing they have in common. They're both klutzes.
Aw.
That's where my head went.
Well, and of course she's blonde, so
Yeah,
They're always blonde.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think her
That
hair
stings
gets
for you, though.
I think her hair gets dyed in the later one of the other movies. I can't remember which, but
Hmm.
so yeah, Jane is Priscilla Presley, and that blows people like it just blew
Yeah.
Can we
Vicky's
just
mind.
talk about him being like, she has those legs that you'd want to suck on?
Oh my
Like,
god.
what does that
Like,
mean?
what
So
does that
uncomfortable.
mean?
I don't want to know.
what you have, and this is this.
Man, they had different riz in the 80s, man.
So
Lord.
here's okay. So again, knowing what I know, right? So when if you've ever watched like detective noir movies, you know when the door opens and he's like, and my next case came in. And her eyes were like the deep pools of the Japanese water, like whatever, you know. And her hair was the color of the sun, and her legs were but they do it seriously in those noir movies.
Yeah, I could get behind that.
But the reason why they do it so weirdly here
They're
is
making
they
fun
are
of it.
leaning so heavily into parody
Okay.
and satire that it's meant to just make you go, what?
I'm just like, do people say that? Is that a thing?
No.
I
no.
know. I was like, it's that one.
The 80s were weird. They
Okay.
weren't that weird.
Okay.
But I love how you ran up against that. And you're just like, what is this?
What is
I am
happening?
offended.
And then she
I am
goes,
upset.
boing.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to think.
Yeah.
I think
Jesus.
the thing and the corny answer is you don't have to. You just have to go, that was funny. And
Okay.
whether or not you like, so that's the thing is, it's like this movie is not kind to women, yes,
Nope.
but it wasn't. It was meant to. It was also meant to kind of satirize and poke fun at. That's how women were viewed in those detective noir stories. It
Totally.
wasn't about their brains or their brawn. It was like,
Their
oh,
objects.
this woman. Yeah, they're exactly this woman who's walking into my office. Oh,
Even in Scooby-Doo.
yeah, exactly. So it's in some ways they're calling attention to it, but they're doing it in the wildest way possible. And again, in the 80s, people would have lost it. They would have loved it because again, it's true. They
Because
should.
you're true if you put on like your, because I just talked about this, but I went into this movie going, all right, well, we have to take it with a grain of salt. But
Yeah.
honestly, if you put on your 2023 lens, if I put it on, I'd be like, secretaries aren't dumb.
Right.
Personal assistants, which I had that job
Yeah.
for a while before I was a teacher.
Yeah, the danger in doing it through 2023, and you have to look at movies like The Goonies and all these other 80s movies. You go, okay,
Yeah.
they were zany, they were weird, and they were wacky. I mean,
But I love the Goonies.
so
Yeah,
actually,
Goonies never die.
I bring up the Goonies because in the Goonies, the girlfriend who's gonna kiss Mike, like the older brother, ends up kissing Mike.
She'll kiss anything that moves.
So, but in the problematic meter that we're measuring, right?
Right.
That's a 17-year-old kissing like a 9-year-old.
Yeah.
child.
And so you could take that and go, but it's meant to be funny. Like it's meant to be like, oh well, now he's gotten kissed by a girl and whatever else. But like if you look at it through the 80s, the 80s were wild. Like you look even the 90s movies that were made. Well, you just go, what? How did that get made? And what? But the 80s were a lot of that too. So
It's changed.
especially Naked Gun, it gets. The third one I've watched some clips of, and it does get even, I would say, more challenging to laugh at it. Maybe, I don't know. It's Leslie Nielsen and the Zuckers were just, they were.
I'd
terrible.
say it has aged about as well as the milk in his fridge.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh my
The
gosh.
Chinese food. Oh my
the
gosh.
Chinese-
The second time I watched it, I'm like, I'm not looking. I can't look at the milk. I can't. And you
like-
kept your eyes open, and you were like,
Well,
"Whoa."
she's like, oh, didn't the restaurant close like 3 years ago?
Yeah.
And she hands it to me, he opened it up, he's like,
He's like, so no food then, and like the cheese behind him is like sliding away.
That's right.
we noticed that at on our next RMU.
That's right. We're like, it moved.
And
it
I
moved.
hadn't noticed that until that was my third viewing, I think, with Vicki. And
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, I missed that joke. To your point, if you don't watch, you'll miss some like really, really great jokes that are in there. Okay, so then Jane and so did you pick up on the fact that after Jane and Drebin like have their day with the music, did you notice that there was a like credit for a music video at the end of it?
Yeah, I did.
No.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
on the
so
bottom left
so
of the
yeah,
screen.
like-
It's like just like the old MTV.
Oh my
The island,
Yeah,
the island
yeah,
is
it's
something
there.
good. So that was basically, and it was
like the old
par-
MTV like videos and
Yeah.
stuff.
So it was parodying the idea of movies that have these music sequences, and then it just basically said it was a music video.
Yeah, it was like from the soundtrack of Naked Gun.
Yeah.
That's what it said.
I can't.
She's smiling. She is, guys.
But it's like that's the thing about these movies.
I can't
is-
believe I just met you 24 hours ago.
Yeah. I love how that
yeah.
also.
Can we talk about the movie they're walking out of laughing? You need to bring that up,
Oh
Aaron.
yeah, so they walked out of the movie Platoon, which is not a comedy.
No.
Yeah, I don't
It's
know
a
what that is.
war
It's
movie.
a Vietnam War
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, Vietnam War. So again, this movie really, again, if you have to, again, it sounds like I'm telling you to rationalize this, which I'm not, but I am. You have to put yourself in kind of the identity of an 80s child or late 80s child or late 80s person.
A 13-year-old boy.
Well,
And
not
from
just,
the 90s,
but
yeah.
not, but not just that.
Like the fart
You're
jokes.
talking about like young adults and like people would have loved this movie when it came out because it was
Sure.
funny, it was hilarious, and it made fun of everyone and everything. Okay, so we had the music video. I'm going through this because I'm trying to remember. Oh gosh, so so he gets into the office, he meets the guy, and then the pen that only is vulnerable to invulnerable to anything but water gets tossed in the water. The poison fish gets stabbed by the pen, and then
And then the girl shows up.
Girl
So
shows
much
up.
is happening.
Girl shows up. So then later that night, so then they have their thing where they, I guess, do we then go into like the meet and greet where they hang out together and whatever, or does he sneak into the office before that or after that?
It's after.
Okay.
After, yeah.
So after that, so after all the, whatever, which includes a scene I'm not going to describe on the podcast.
Yeah.
I don't
Let's
want to
not-
talk about it. Because that was one scene I was like, why? Just why?
It was bothering me too, to be honest. That scene, I was like,
And then he.
Okay, so we'll talk about it gently here. So the scene, because there's always the conversation, like, about in movies when people have relations on screen, right? And they're like, oh, well, you're gonna like, are we gonna practice safe sex or whatever? Mm-hmm. And so like in movies that was kind of like whatever, but in this movie, and this is what makes me laugh. Someone in the props department had to create
They did.
2 of those things.
And they had to wear them.
And they had to wear them. So what we're describing is that they were condoms basically, like full body, like a full body condoms.
Head to toe.
Yeah, head to toe. And so the absurdity of it is that that's the absurdity. So he sneaks into the office to get the proof, which he gets, and then he lights it on fire.
And there's this ragtime. Everything starts falling off the shelves. I can see it happening. I'm like, there's too many breakable things.
And then
How long is it going to take?
And then he like catches them all as they're falling,
Yeah.
and then he stands up and just drags the whole thing down with him. It's like, oh my gosh.
I love that scene for the absolute madness that it is. It is chaos.
See, to me, the scene I don't want to talk about is when he tries to escape.
Yeah.
Tries to escape.
He tries to escape the room, and he's hanging on to statues.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
And then there's a human involved,
Right.
and we're going to leave it at that.
Yeah.
So this is, I would say, Naked Gun was the precursor to a lot of the gross out comedies we have today. It does a little bit of it, and the absurdity of it is it's not. If you compare it to most movies now, it's tame. It is so tame. Like there are
Fair.
Totally.
yeah, but I think if we look at it as like, oh my gosh, how inappropriate, it's like, yeah, it's a little weird, but it's again, they weren't trying to do that. They were trying to poke fun at like the architecture and all those kinds of things and whatever. It is amusing. It's not as funny as the rest of the movie, but it does kind of it's those things about the movie that you want to be like, hey, if we could just pulled this out, everything would have been fine. But
Yeah.
we had this one thing where it's like, I didn't want this. So he gets out, he escapes.
So going back to that scene,
Yeah.
is that the same one where he like pulls the paper out from under the card?
Yeah.
And he does
yeah.
it perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Everything
starts.
falls. It's not meant to make logical sense. It's just meant to make you laugh. That's what they're doing. So then they end up at the baseball game.
Oh my gosh!
And
What a train wreck!
That's
A
the word
whole
for it.
game is a train
so
wreck.
he starts out by pretending to be the opera singer for the national anthem.
Isn't he Canadian as well?
I think Leslie Nielsen is Canadian, actually.
Well, now I gotta know. So.
Yeah, I'm sure maybe he's
Because
not.
I thought this was
I
maybe a
don't know.
joke because why he didn't know the national anthem.
So what the
He's
dude?
Canadian.
So he butchers that.
He did.
And then he keeps singing until the police, and he runs away from the police. Then he goes to the umpire room and knocks out an umpire and takes the role of the home base umpire.
He is Canadian.
He is Canadian. There we go.
Oh.
So the absurdity of the national anthem with Leslie Nielsen is even better. So then he's at the baseball game, and the idea, which I had forgot about until we watched it, when we finally watched it again, is that his goal to be the umpire is to frisk all the players and find their weapons.
Right.
Yeah.
I forgot about that part until we started watching it. I was like, oh, that's why he's the umpire.
Because that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Because that's what they do.
Yeah, totally. But no one stops him,
Assaults
No
all the
one
players.
stops him.
and he calls outs all the time, even when it's not an out, because he's trying to prevent the inning from happening.
Right.
And then he gets.
See, I didn't figure that out until the very end. I'm like,
And he's doing like a celebration dance every time. He's like,
Yeah,
"Oh,"
yeah, and he's
and then
doing
just
like
starts-
it's like the
yeah.
man splits and all that.
Yeah.
Loves it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's terrible but funny. So then I guess they get into a fight with the umpires, and all that stuff happens, and then the inning comes to a close.
Oh, this is like one of the scenes where Zoe was like, that looks so fake, and that's when like the bad guy grabs Jane
Yeah.
and starts smacking her.
And this is where Aaron starts
Okay,
to die
so-
laughing
so
because
before we get there-
explain.
It's obviously a doll, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
of course.
that's why he
Obviously.
laughs.
Yeah. So before we get there, so then, Leslie Nielsen's character Drebin wasn't able to search all. He's like missed out on like 2 players. Well, one of the players that the guy operates is one of the. I think he's the shortstop or whatever, and he pulls out a gun. He says, "Must kill the queen." Must
Yeah, he pulls
kill
it
the-"
out from under the plate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Like-
like dug a hole or something, or
Yeah.
I don't know how he did
So
it.
then he goes to the queen, and then Frank Drebin, I think, jumps and stops it or whatever, and saves the queen. And the police chief is just like, mad because she has to actually tell him, you did a good job. You saved the queen. Why do I keep employing this man? And then, yes, Ricardo Montalban takes Jane, and it's meant to be a doll because he just throws her around.
The reason
He's,
I know is because
using
the
her
scene
as a
barely
weapon.
started, and Aaron was looking at me going, "It's a doll! It's a doll! It's a doll!"
Yeah.
Oh,
It's like
okay.
you could anticipate my reaction. It's like you knew.
It's not real. It's a doll. It's fine. So yeah, they get up to the top, and then Frank. There's the showdown scene, right? And he's like I'll kill the girl, and then Drebin grabs a lady and holds her hostage.
I know. It's like, what is happening?
Worst cop ever.
I love it. It's because it's so absurd. And then he like has that thing that the guy gave him earlier, which was like the little watch thing where it shoots a whatever
Yeah.
Dart.
little dart, and it hits Montalban, who lets go of Jane, and then one of the ladies, oh, you killed him. He's like, no. He'll be okay.
He'll wake up.
He'll wake up, and he like stumbles back and then falls over to the
And then gets smushed by
Everything.
some sort of everything.
A steamroller, a marching band.
Yep.
Gosh, there was other stuff too.
Was there more?
Yeah, there was a truck, there was a bus, marching band. Yeah, it was
even.
fantastic.
Pretty sure some horses went by.
Yeah, it was amazing.
And the device still manages to go
Off, so it turns
after all that.
After all that.
Jane turns Jane into a killer, and then Frank Drebin reaches to her heart, and she stops from killing him.
Like, I've loved
And
you
also
since
makes
2
world
days
peace
ago.
happen.
Yeah, because then like what is suggested to be a Palestinian and an Israeli, they hug in the stands, and it's
Not age well.
no,
right now.
it doesn't.
No,
Not in this day and age.
no,
It
no,
does
no,
not.
no.
Can I bring up one scene that I know Zoe did enjoy?
Okay,
The hold on, I'm thinking about it.
it'll get there.
The teen driver and the instructor.
That was
Yeah.
so good.
Extend your middle
Yes.
finger.
He's like, normally we wouldn't be going 60 miles an hour down a one-way road.
I do. So thank you for mentioning that, because I love it.
That is a great
Because
scene.
he just gets in the car, and he's like, follow that car, and he's like, okay, and he looks and he sees the student driving, and he just goes.
I just love that this genteel old man is like,
Go
okay,
easy on the brake.
extend your arm and then slowly
Slowly
extend your middle finger. I was like, a little spicy, okay.
Like the truck driver just kind of looks like, what?
Well, and how calm he is when the truck's coming towards them.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, just like reverse. Like, what?
And
I need you around in a crisis.
Yeah.
I love how the doctor that they're chasing,
Yeah.
he steals a car first.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, that car is now equipped with like the little kneecapper thing.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh, how convenient.
Make it make sense.
Oh yeah. So that whole scene was fantastic because he runs into a tanker truck, and then he runs into like a missile, and then it just continues to the point where he just runs into a
A
fireworks
fireworks
shot.
building.
Yeah.
Can we rhyme to the doctor? Because I appreciate the part when Wesley Nielsen comes in the scene
Right.
because he's trying to smother with a pillow and he throws a pillow at him, and all of a sudden he's being smothered.
Yeah, it's like,
Nielsen is fighting the
That's the part
pillow.
that makes me giggle. 'Cause I'm just like, that's absurd. There's no way.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Oh, and like poor Nordberg, again, what we talked about earlier, gets beat up at every possible moment.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic.
You say poor Nordberg.
Nordberg.
You keep saying that.
Well-
And I'll respect it.
OJ. His name is Nordberg, isn't it?
Yeah, but you poor.
Poor Nordberg.
You feel bad for him.
Well, for the
Okay.
character, not for the actor. The actor has had his misdeeds and horrible things that he's done in life.
Yeah.
So
That's a hill I'm
Poor
going to die
world.
on.
yeah, the end of the movie, obviously, it all happens, and then Nordberg shows up and's like, "Oh, I'm better."
To get beat up one more time.
And then his wheelchair goes down the stairs. And what's funny is you can see the air cannon that launches the doll so you can see the air. So it was obviously they didn't care for the effects, but yeah, you see him get launched into the stadium.
I'm just thinking back to that hospital, where they're in the hospital room and he makes the thing to keep
Yes,
folding.
his poor wife.
he'll
And
be
he's
fine.
like, I love you. And he's like, I love you too, but this isn't the time for that. And it's like, no, it's the name of the boat.
oh, and he's so mean to like his family member.
Yeah.
See, that's what I
He's
keep
like,
remembering.
yeah,
The poor
like-
wife going,
And she's like,
crying.
snot crying on him.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, well, that would be bad for the organ donors. And then he's
and now let's
like,
go
oh,
get a
well,
bite to eat.
He's like, if he becomes a drooling vegetable, and every time he says something, this lady just screams.
I know.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, good job, dude.
Yeah, it is one of those movies where you have to accept the absurdity of it.
The other scene I liked though was when they had like the body tape in the water.
Yeah,
Oh,
That
yeah.
was funny. That was funny.
yeah. And, well, the idea obviously because they used to like do chalk
Yeah.
around the bodies and it was in the water. It was fantastic.
I got that joke at least.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Congratulations. So, to Zoe's defense, if you have not watched any like police shows or detective noir shows or movies, this movie is going to register on several different red buttons for you. So know that going in. If you're not a child of the '80s, which I am, their target audience. I am absolutely. I watched a lot of Dragnet. I watched a lot of those shows. I watched a lot of detective shows. And that's what they're making fun of. So a gentle warning: if you come back and email and be like, I watched this movie and I was so offended. Well, you probably aren't the audience, or you need to have an understanding of the content in which they're making fun of,
Totally.
but to then appreciate what they're doing. They're not malicious. It's not. I mean, the reality of think about an '88. The Middle East situation was no better than it was now. It was
Right,
almost
yeah.
worse. I mean, not to say that I don't even know if it could be worse than it is today. But in the context
It
of the
was
'80s,
really bad.
It was not great. It was very
It
bad.
can always be worse.
It can always
Weren't
be
they
worse.
using mustard gas?
I don't know.
I think Saddam Hussein was using. Well, he's using some kind of terrible gas at least once.
So when they make fun of those individuals, and notice they make fun of the leaders, they don't make fun of the people.
Right.
They're very, and that I think
I appreciate that.
even in the
Agreed.
even in the late '80s, it's like, okay, we appreciate that you didn't like show a group of people doing something that would be interpreted as racist or whatever. They were absolutely making fun of Arafat and Muhammad Gaddafi and the Iranian guy, and I think they even made fun of Gorbachev because Gorbachev has that birthmark.
Yeah.
And then Leslie
He's
Nielsen
like, I knew it was fake.
He's like, I knew it. So they're not malicious. They're just being kind of quirky and funny. So that I do appreciate because certain shows like Team America World Police really leans heavily into the racist caricature of terrorists
Right.
and people of that in that part of the world. So I don't think we can actually watch Team America World Police for this program. It's pretty rough when you look at how it. I mean, at the time, I think people laughed at it and it was funny. But if you look at it now and you go, ooh, I don't know if it's aged well.
I mean, if we didn't have things going on literally right now, I
Yeah.
probably wouldn't be as like.
Yeah, reticent to watch
Right.
it again. Yeah. We won't cover that one for this program. You can watch it on your own, and if you're of age to do that, enjoy that experience, and then you can tell us how you feel, or what you experienced, or what you saw. Okay.
I will say though, I actually loved the narration because it
yeah.
kind of reminded me of like what is that, Murder I Wrote or
Murder, She Wrote.
Murder She Wrote.
Yeah. And there is that
So I
element.
like that vibe.
Yeah.
yeah.
So it is again. I think if you watch Dragnet and you watch those shows go on YouTube, and you'll get a sense of like, okay, this is what they were making fun of.
Right.
This is what they were trying to do, and they do it successfully. The sequels, I don't.
So
Yeah.
And I
I-
love Leslie Nielsen. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, he's the same dude.
Yeah.
Like he's stupid.
yeah.
Like I'm sorry. Like,
I love him in all the
He's
scary
so
movies.
smart, but he's
Yeah.
so stupid.
Yeah. He to your point. Yeah, he was. I think he did. I didn't watch any of the Scary Movie parodies.
He
'cause
did
I-
all like 5.
Yeah, he
First
was
5.
the reason why.
Was he in Scary Movie? What was his?
Yeah.
What part did he
I
do?
think he was in 3 and up.
It's been so long since I've seen it.
I can't remember which one it is, but there's one where they're like making fun of signs, and he's like.
What is it rated?
PG-13, I think. Or
I
PG.
can't believe they got away with that
After I
rating.
watched this, I was like, how are we going to talk about this movie?
I wondered too, actually, if I'm real honest.
Yeah, it's so the thing is that the reality of it is if you show this to a high schooler now, they wouldn't even bat an eye.
No.
They wouldn't be offended. There wouldn't be an issue. But it is, I think, because we're like kind of like oh, I don't know. But when you stack it up against the late '90s and the early 2000s and the movies now, it's so tame. It is so tame comparatively. And so it's one of those things where it's just like, if you're looking for something to laugh at and you need just some easy humor that's you have to pay attention to, but it's on point with its satire and its jokes, this is the movie to watch. Okay, so here's my theory. I guess we should rate this movie since we talk about that sometimes.
I know that facial expression.
Zoe's look of apprehension is
Let me say something. I'm gonna let the cat out the bag.
okay.
Oh, Lord.
At one point in time, while we were watching this movie, Zoe turns over to me and she says,
Oh, gosh.
"I think the Pinocchio movie's better."
Oh no!
I said I would rather watch the Pinocchio movie than.
Wow.
Yeah, she went there.
Wow.
Really?
She went there.
I would watch Pinocchio every day if I had to, and never
Not-
had to
not
watch that
this
movie again.
The movie again.
Wow.
Okay. Okay.
I do feel a little bit better now that there's some context.
Okay.
I understand more now.
Yeah.
Because if they just blatantly were just like being sexist
Right.
and like immature and like, no.
Right.
Just doing it just to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, wow, you must have some considerable courage back in the late 80s.
I looked at her. I was baffled. I was like, no, it's not.
I would just listen to my one little song in the movie, you know?
Yeah. So let's do for Zoe. We'll do this. Like, what was your original rating without the context? Like, are we talking like 1 out of 10?
No, I would have given it like a 4.
Oh, okay.
Because I do like Leslie Nielsen. I mean,
Okay. Yeah.
he's a wonderful actor. So.
Yeah. Okay. So
I'll give
4
him
out
a
of
little-
4 out of 10 before the context. After the context.
5.5.
Jeez. You got a 1.5.
Not much better than
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. I probably would just never watch it again. I might watch the second one.
I would love to watch the second one with you.
I'll give that a shot.
I would pay to see that happen.
Okay.
I would be like, invite me over. Let's do a live podcast.
Oh my god.
Actually, we could do that.
Reaction
We-
video.
We could do that here. We could figure out a way to bring.
This would have been a perfect video one because of our facial.
Yeah.
All my facial.
Pinocchio, man.
This is Zoe through most of the movie. She's got her phone and she's just
Well, that was
Scrolling.
after halfway because I was like, okay, I'm done.
she was over it.
She'd had enough.
I don't want to be angry.
I don't want to be angry anymore.
Well, and then I can't remember. Oh, we were going to my birthday dinner because we watched it the night before.
Yeah.
And my dad and Phil both pounced on me about it. But it's funny. It's that slapstick humor and all this stuff. I'm like, but what about sexism?
There are all guys saying this.
So I'm like, so then I told Phil, I was like, well, I'll just be quiet and like I won't.
So like when we
anything.
happened to be at the same seminar Monday, and I was like, how was it? And just your facial expression was very like, it was kind of like, I don't want to. Should I say that I hated it? And so I was like, I was thinking, where could Zoe be coming from? So I took a shot in the dark, and I landed correctly.
Yes.
So
And you're not. So here's the thing: you're not wrong to have reacted the way you did because the late '80s, those comedies, they were more like they were sexist. They were, and
Yeah.
with this movie specifically, it's not. They didn't do it intentionally, like to be sexist. It was parodying the original sexism of the detective
Right,
noir
and that
shit.
makes sense now.
But
I get
it's
that.
that is an issue I think in a lot of comedies in the 80s, 90s, and even 2000s, even somewhat now. It's just there is a lot of
Like, what is too far in comedy?
right, and that's especially in comedies like on TV with
Ask
involving
Chris Rock.
that's where
what
my
I
brain
said
went.
to you
Right.
earlier.
yeah. So it's a very interesting time to be alive in 2023 because what's funny, what isn't funny, how do we decide that, and how do we determine that?
Yeah.
And the answer is, so I often say this. I know, like I'll say where I sit or where I stand. Where I sit is where I'm still deciding. I'm still thinking. I'm still studying. I'm still contemplating.
Yeah.
If I say where I stand, that's where I believe. I'm taking a stand on this is what I believe.
Right.
I am still sitting in the concept of what is funny and what is comedy, because you have comedians who will make jokes, and the thing is like if we're not willing. And this is a conversation that has been had with comedians across the years, but especially in the last couple of years, is how much are we going to police ourselves to the point where we can't make jokes anymore?
Right.
And it's that spectrum of
Yeah.
where do we draw our lines, and who decides where those lines are?
Fair.
Because if it's going to be this guy, well, we've given the power over to one dude or one group of people or one person or panel of people. Like, where do we sit or stand on it? And the answer is, I don't know, and I don't think comedy knows. But I think there's that danger of then if we say you can't do this or this is our line for jokes, well, people aren't going to make those. They're going to be worried about not just making that, but the jokes that are a couple of lines behind that.
Right.
So if they feel like, oh man, I'm gonna get in trouble and get pushed to the pushed. So that's, I don't have an answer. My general answer as a whole is like, if the joke lands, it lands. If the joke doesn't land, well, then you know you shouldn't have made it.
Right.
Like,
Some of it is just know your audience.
yeah,
Yeah.
because there's, I mean,
So it's still a real life example of this. Elementary school, you really have to know your audience.
Yeah.
And we have a whole medley on Disney villains.
Yep.
And one of my favorites is the very end. We're doing the Gaston song, but there is this line, and every last inch of him's covered with hair. And I came to that line, and I was like, guys, I kind of think we should change this. And they're like, yeah. So we say, In fact, he's so big he resembles a bear.
Oh, I like
It
that.
rhymes.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah.
Same syllables.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I'm not comfortable with 4th and 5th graders singing.
that.
Ooh,
Yeah,
no.
it's a little bit of a yeah. So it's that delicate line of how do you do
Right.
that and how. But yeah, for comedy, it's
I will say I'm not for censoring comedy.
right.
If you tell a joke and it gets you in trouble because for whatever reason, I mean,
That's on you.
yeah.
As a comedian, you
Know
did
your
it.
audience.
Yeah.
You got to yield the consequences. But I'm also, very mindful of the censorship idea, and comedy has. I mean, there are big comedy clubs, and then there's the smaller comedy clubs where there's some jokes being told there that are blue. Like blue comedy is like there's a reason why it exists. There's a reason why sometimes we lean into that dark humor or that blue humor or even like that dark blue humor. Like that's what we do as humans. We have that need to express ourselves and laugh at things. You talk about police officers. Police officers have the darkest sense of humor. Firefighters.
And they kind of have to. It helps them get through.
Yeah.
And I mean,
That's the thing with
as-
humor. It can
as-
help you get
as
through hard things.
teacher and as counselor, we've had some dark humor jokes. But it's not that we're like malicious. It's just like we had to make that joke to be able to get through it and be like,
Yeah.
But I also didn't make a whole hour and a half movie about it.
I think Zoe is still feeling this and still kind of crazy.
Maybe you should pick the next thing. Maybe you've heard that.
I mean, and I grew up watching Mad TV, the
Yeah.
Three Stooges, all that stuff. So
Yeah.
I mean, I guess my mindset just was not right that day or something.
Well, it's
I
also
don't-
you didn't have that context. Like
Yeah.
you just that's the thing about a lot of these.
This
movies.
isn't like normal slapstick either. This is not the Pink Panther.
right.
Right.
Yeah.
We should probably put that on the list at some point. Have you ever watched the
I
original
have
Pink Panther?
not.
Peter Sellers is a comedic genius. It is.
Oh, so we're not watching the Steve Martin one?
No, that's an abomination. Are you kidding me? No, Peter Sellers is
Because
Pink
I'm
Panther.
weird. I'm team because we've tried to do Pink Panther and it's not really. I don't find it as funny as Aaron does.
Yeah.
I don't know why because I love slapstick and this is a movie I personally would rate it an 8.
Yeah.
This is one I really like and I've watched more than once. But I suspend the disbelief. I'm just like it was the 80s.
Right.
Whatever. It's a character. But yeah, Pink Panther. I don't know.
Yeah, no, Steve Martin is no Pink Panther. I'm sorry.
Okay.
You like
Father of
he-
the Bride, though.
Seriously.
Yeah, Father of the Bride
And
is
his
Father of the
banjo
Bride.
playing skills.
Oh yeah, no. Like
Yeah.
there's no question. Steve Martin is a legendary comedic actor. Pink Panther, he is not.
Okay.
Yeah, that is not a thing. You have
Like to buy a hamburger.
you have to watch the original you have to watch the original with. Oh man, I just lost his name.
What is his name?
Oh, I had it and I said it and now I've lost it.
I distracted him by saying that I don't like the Pink Panther. I don't.
Peter
though.
Sellers, there it is. So Peter Sellers is, and his movies, and he was just an incredible actor. There's a lot of talk about how he lost himself in his roles. He didn't know who the real Peter Sellers was after a while because he got so involved in his characters and his movie making that he wasn't sure who he was. And there's been a movie actually about it that talks about how he got lost and how he and
And that happens to some like Heath Ledger.
yeah.
It's another example of somebody self-care, guys.
Yeah.
Self-care.
Method acting is
not
no
a good
joke.
Yeah, not a good. You have to have people supporting you and kind of pulling you back. 'Cause
Yeah.
Even Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have seen his Joker, his version of the Joker.
Yeah, I
I
can't.
haven't.
He literally lost so much weight for that. I mean, you could see his ribs and like.
Joaquin, not Joaquin. Yeah, no, yes,
Yeah,
Joaquin.
Joaquin, yeah.
River Phoenix is the
Yeah,
one that
yeah.
died.
Yes.
Joaquin Phoenix, he's very interesting to me. I'm not gonna say he's odd because that would be malicious. I'm not trying to say that, but he's eccentric perhaps.
That's a good word for it.
He is an eccentric and unusual, and he's not watching his interviews. I can't watch them because it's so unusual.
Okay.
And I don't know why, but I can't do
I
it.
love me a good Joaquin Phoenix.
Well, I don't
movie.
in the art world, like not just theater, but also in the music world, the eccentric they kind of gravitate toward the arts. It's not saying everyone in the arts is eccentric, but
Well,
there's a few.
Joaquin is there. So, and he's gone through a lot. Like there's no discounting there. He's had a life. I would rate this movie probably like a 9.
A 9.
A 9.
Oh, you should see him. You should see how. And if you don't laugh, this is the movie where you laugh the hardest.
love it
Which to me is half the
so
fun.
much.
He just
The-
he's like
yeah.
howling and like I've had to like
Yeah.
sometimes you've like hit me when you're like slapping your head. I'm like, ow!
Well, slapstick.
Hitting me space.
To be very clear for those who are listening, who are like, she just said that he hit her.
Oh.
I hit the couch, and by accident, my
Yes.
fingers impacted upon her like leg in,
Yes.
in a slightly aggressive fashion. Like there was not intent, there was not actual violence. It just was like it because that would.
I can verify that this is accurate.
Yeah, this is just so we're clear. So there's no
You
question.
don't know your own strength
Yeah, apparently I
or
don't.
personal space.
Or my comedy reactions. Yeah, I would give it a 9. I just because I know the context and for what it was, it's a pretty good movie. There's a couple of moments where it's like, we could have lost that. We could have lost this.
I could do without the statutes.
Yeah, I could do it.
Why?
It could,
I thought it was
And that
funny.
one
I thought it was
intimacy.
messed up, but also funny.
See, I think it's funny. To me, that's great.
That's like the blue collar comedy tour. I don't care who you are. That's funny.
Oh my.
Wait,
That's
Phil,
funny
what would
right
you
there.
rate it?
Okay, so the way I'm going to do this,
Oh boy.
this is the first time I've seen this movie.
Okay.
I would rate this one a 6,
Okay.
and I would rate the second one an 8.
Okay.
Okay.
But what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewatch the second one,
Yeah.
and I will update.
See
you
us.
guys.
Let us know what you think. if it was actually as good as you
Yeah.
think it was.
Yeah.
Because nostalgia, as we've discovered with previous
All them
recording.
rose tinted glasses.
Yeah,
you know?
nostalgia is a dangerous thing because sometimes what you think was a really great movie as a kid, you watch it and you go, "What? Who let this happen to me?
Yeah.
Why did you? No."
why did I
There's
like
one we
it.
did on Nerds by Screenlight with it was a fantasy movie with Tom Cruise. What was it called again?
Oh,
That's a good example of this where you remember liking it as a kid. Legend.
Legend. Yeah.
You
Don't-
like-
Have you
I
watched it
haven't-
recently?
No, not in a long time.
Yeah. See.
But it's Will Smith and the dog.
No,
No, you're talking about Legend.
You're
so we're
talking about I Am
oh.
Legend.
You're talking about I Am Legend.
Oh, okay.
No, this is an entirely
I was like,
this is
wait,
an entirely
where
different
are we
film.
Going?
Sorry.
What
It's
is?
like Will Smith.
Zoe just jumped in
Tom
the
Hanks
truck
ain't
and
in
said,
that movie.
No, Tim Curry's
"Into
in
the
it.
ditch we go."
But I love Tim Curry too.
He's the shining star and the bright moment of this
yeah.
film.
It's
Yeah,
just
so-
legend.
Yeah, it's just Legend. It's
Okay.
Tom Cruise. It's Tim Curry.
Love all those people.
It is.
But it's badly made fantasy.
Yeah.
When was it made though?
80s.
Of course. No, I was kidding.
It was Tom Cruise. I think it was. You don't get to just no.
So I do think Zoe should pick the next film. We've made her suffer through 2 of them.
Well, I think probably what might be good is to like decide on our start the process of ranking our favorite Christmas
Yeah.
movie.
Oh, that's a good
Yes,
idea.
yes,
And
yeah.
decide what we want, which one of when we want to watch to kind of celebrate the Christmas because we leave on the 22nd on that Friday we're out, so we've got a couple weekends to go before we have to take a break from recording. But yeah, the Christmas movies. So yeah, Legend is interesting.
Just like the picture looks weird.
Yeah, that's accurate.
It was I think
Devil and a unicorn?
yeah it has it's a whole thing.
Okay.
So
I like
It is.
unicorns.
you'll have once you watch it you'll have to go back and listen to our podcast where we talk about it.
Okay.
Because
Oh my god, look how young Tom Cruise
yeah it was his
Yeah.
first movie.
I'll just say like it.
Yeah.
It's a different feeling like between Tom Cruise doing his own stunts
Yeah.
and Jackie Chan doing
Yeah,
his
or
own
like
stunts.
Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
Like Henry Cavill is a nice gentleman who plays Warhammer 40K, builds his own PCs, plays computer games, like is just a kind man that no one has any problems with except for apparently the producers and the writers of the Witcher series, which we'll talk about at some point in the future. I'm really mad about it, but I'll get over it. But yeah, Henry Cavill, like Jackie Chan, does his own. Like you watch the behind the scenes of Jackie Chan. Dude puts his body on
Yeah.
the line for his movies.
I've heard him talk about all of his injuries that he's gotten, and it's like,
Yeah.
it is a Christmas list.
Yeah, it is a long one.
I've listened to a podcast, so you've listened to it as well, where there was a female actress that did like her own stunts and knew Jackie and said that she thinks there's something with the industry where they push them too hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like they're
can
not
see
kind
that.
to their actors.
yeah.
And
Well,
it's
it's-
kinda
Where
made
on the
me
other
think.
hand, Tom Cruise is they're all his ideas.
yeah.
He's like, no, I want that knife right by my pupil.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah, and I think it's just that idea of I gotta up myself. I gotta outdo
Yeah.
myself every time.
Well, and like the Alec Baldwin thing, like
Oh,
if you think about
jeez.
that, like we should not be going too crazy because people die.
Right. Yeah. Then they're gonna recharge him.
Yeah.
My
Yeah,
understanding
they
is
are.
they're actually gonna charge him up.
Yep.
They're gonna do it again
Good.
because
Oh,
yeah
we're
he's
on a different camp with this.
the
Oh,
evidence.
we're just going off the
The evidence against Alec Baldwin is pretty significant.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: that whole movie shoot apparently though was a hot mess.
Yeah.
And so it's what we learned the hard way, which someone died, is that Hollywood's got some of those shoots have got some issues. And you would have thought, I mean, this is a deep cut, but Brendan, what was the movie? The Crow.
Brandon Lee.
Brandon Lee, he died.
Yep.
Because a gun was loaded. And so the movie wasn't, they had to finish the movie with like a guy with a double in like dark lighting.
I did not know this.
Yeah, it was bad. And that was where Hollywood tried to shape up. Like they were like, we gotta make sure this is all done right. And so we haven't had one until this whole situation with the movie Rust with Alec Baldwin, where it happened. And it was, what's worse about it is that people knew. They're like, no, your armor isn't good. You don't have a good armor. She doesn't know enough. She isn't good experienced. You don't have someone watching her and checking her and making sure she's doing it right.
Right.
And it just was this like categorical failure across several different parts of that film and departments where what happened could have actually been prevented.
Yeah.
Had people been doing their jobs.
Agreed.
And for whatever reason, Alec Baldwin didn't check or didn't whatever. And whatever happens with the case, again, everyone who is charged is presumed innocent until proven guilty. Like that's the statement we want to make very clear. We're not saying that Alec Baldwin is guilty, but he's going to be recharged.
Wow.
And it's a hot mess though. I think there's a lot more accountability that needs to happen on that film set with the people involved. I don't think it's just an Alec Baldwin situation. I think there's some serious
the prop people.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah.
people whose hands were on that weapon who didn't do their proper due diligence, and that's just it's wacky. And I use that word probably inappropriately, but I don't have a better word. It's just wacky that happened.
Yeah.
That in 2020 it was 2021 or 2022 that actually occurred on a Hollywood set. And Alec Baldwin is not a lightweight.
No.
Alec Baldwin is a high-end movie star. So we're talking a good-sized movie with a good-sized staff, and this is what happens. Like, and people are still, I think, to this day shocked
I am still shocked
that it happened, and that was the end all be all. And it's just heartbreaking because someone's family is missing a person.
Yeah.
And it's like, where was your care for your people, and why did it fall apart? Because now a bunch of lives are ruined, and
And I'm assuming this movie will never come out. Or did it come
probably. I don't think it's been released yet.
Oh,
It may not. So there you go. There's your latest and greatest from the Hollywood trades. We've broken.
What a depressing note to end on.
Well, okay, so to Phil's point, the actors are back in business. The writers have been writing, but now the actors can step in front of cameras.
Woohoo!
What's interesting is that there was a lot of pressure on the actors to get their act together and get their contract signed, because people were starting to lose money. Like already, they're like, look, we can't continue for this forever. We got to sign something.
Well, I'm like, there are shows and movies that are planned that I need to come out. Okay, I need the
Second 90 show, second Wednesday.
Yeah, second Wednesday season.
The new the Beetlejuice 2 that's supposed to come out.
Yeah.
The new Spider-Man.
Yep. There's a lot coming.
I've had students who tell me I need to see Wednesday.
Oh, you do?
have to.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch it like back in the black and white?
Adam's Family.
Yeah, the Addams Family.
Like a little bit. I just never got super into it.
Or the Munsters?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
They're all right.
Yeah.
It's kind of more comedic, like the Munsters now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, there you go. So yeah, and there's a lot more shows that are finally starting to come out because the strike is over. So now we're going to see more releases and stuff like that. So we're kind of excited for that. What is something you're looking forward to in 2024?
Aaron.
2024.
We
How
got
about the end of this?
Thanksgiving.
No,
We
I'm
got
talking
Christmas.
like movies. Like what?
Oh, okay.
No, I need to know personally within the next 30 seconds in the 2024 year.
Can I go with December 2023?
Sure.
The finale of The Crown.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I just finished the first half.
Yeah. It's a good show. It's well done. It's well produced. It's well written. It's a good show. I am looking forward to watching and then never watching again after like 15 minutes is whenever Liam Hemsworth takes over for The Witcher.
Okay, I haven't gotten into The Witcher.
Aaron, you got to stop torturing yourself. You know I love Halo. We've talked about this on County Gamers.
Yeah.
Halo. I will not watch that TV series on
Really?
Netflix. I refused.
Has it come out?
Whenever they said that, like, it shows his face and then he's like standing there with his naked butt, I was like, nope,
What?
no. No.
God.
They
Gosh,
are
we really
ruining.
going off the rails.
They are ruining video game
Yeah.
adaptations.
So
of-
The Witcher is actually the first season of Witcher is good. Second is third one is
well, because the writers admitted that like we don't care about the game.
Yeah.
We're gonna.
or the books.
Yeah.
So the thing
How
about
can you do that?
yeah, that's the thing that
No kidding.
yeah, and so what happened is that a great story became a real tragedy, and it's again Liam Hemsworth might be able to pull it off, but it's just okay. So we'll take a little bit of a hop, skip, and a jump. So what happened with the third season of Witcher, right? Or I think it was the third season. Yeah, it was the third season. So the same thing happened with the Star Wars prequels.
Yeah.
So it went all political. It was all about the political intrigue and the political systems. And I don't know about y'all, but I have enough of that in my real life.
That's fair.
Kidding.
I don't need it in my imaginary TV life. And so people were mad about what Witcher did in season 3 is because it removed the Witcher from the story and put him on the side while we had this political intrigue with all these things. People were like, give us more of Henry Cavill killing monsters, please. Yeah. Could you do that? That was what we loved about the show before you went and did whatever this abomination is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it made me angry. So season 4 is going to be just delightful. I'm going to hate all of it.
But you're gonna
Whenever he says the word delightful, everyone, it's
He doesn't mean it.
deeply sarcastic.
I mean, it's you get the extra.
Unless you're talking to a very small child, and then
Yeah.
you actually are like, "Oh,
Yeah.
you're delightful." Then you mean it.
Yeah.
But out of that context,
Yeah.
something is when you say something is delightful, I'm like, "Oh, there's some deep loathing." It's the complete opposite.
I will say, I grew up playing, the Twisted Metal games.
Yeah.
So Zoe never played the games at all. She didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
We sat down and we watched the Netflix series together.
Okay.
It was
It's
really good.
awesome.
Okay.
It was
I'm
actually
excited.
really good.
I'll have to check it out. I've been told it's been all right. I'll have to give it a watch.
Does that mean now they can make the second season?
Yeah. That's why I'm like, yes, thank God the writers and actors are back. We can get these things.
Yeah. Get some good movies back in the mix.
Yeah, because it teases a lot like at the end of it. And
Nice.
I'm like, I'm so ready.
I'm excited.
And it's nice because you don't really have to know the game to like get into it.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where I'm like pointing out to her. I'm like, oh, this dude drives this car. And
Yeah.
she drives that. And
Nice.
All the
super
Easter
fun.
eggs.
Yeah,
What are
it
you
was
looking
fun.
forward to,
Zoe,
Zoe?
what are you looking forward
You're gonna say?
Okay, season 2 of The Watcher. I don't know if anyone's seen it on Netflix.
No.
The Watcher.
It's very mysterious because like some random anonymous person is like leaving them these like threats in their
Okay.
mail,
Okay.
and they're like trying to figure out
Oh,
who did
yeah.
it. They think it's like their neighbors.
Is that based on
and-
the real true story?
Yes, about a certain house where they leave letters.
Yeah. The real actual story about that is terrifying and also weird and unsettling.
Like, the whole time you're like, oh, I think it's this person, and then you're like, no, now I think it's this person, and now I think it's this person.
They never.
It's like
figured out-
watching the
they-
Scream movies.
they
But
nev-
all the houses literally,
Yeah.
like there's like a tunnel underneath to their house.
okay.
It's really creepy.
in the show, in the
In the
actual,
show.
in the real
Yeah, yeah,
life
yeah, yeah.
events, that never
Right,
happened.
right.
But in
So
the
they
real
were
events, they
focused.
never figured out who did it.
Really?
Yeah, there was never any truth. They never discovered who it was.
And I'm also excited for the new oh god, I just went out of my mind.
It's okay. it'll come
Hunger
back.
Games.
Oh, okay.
Or like the prequel, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm curious.
Yeah, I kind of want to know what's his name?
I don't know.
Old
Snow?
guy.
Snow, yep.
I want to like know his backstory.
I
and,
want to
like-
hear the songs.
Yeah.
There's a YouTuber that I actually found that like did her own version of the songs. They're beautiful. And when they started making the film, they originally told her, "You got to take these off." And she was so upset. Like she was teary, and her fans like rallied behind her and basically let her keep them up.
Oh, great.
So that was like amazing. But I'm curious to go, what's your interpretation of these songs? Because
Yeah. It'll be good.
they were good what the songwriter did.
What are you looking forward to? Did you say?
Besides the crown,
Crown.
that's
Crown,
part
okay.
2.
What I'm looking forward to some. So there's a show called For All Mankind, and it's an alternative. It's on Apple Plus, Apple Video Plus, Apple Movies Plus, whatever. And it's an alternate history of the space program.
Okay.
And so the beginning season, the first season is the Russians made it to the moon first, and they got there first. And so
I've heard that.
it's an alternate history.
Have you been watching it a little bit?
Yeah, I have. And so the new season just came out, and so it's releasing every Friday, and so I'm watching it. And it's so far it's so good. It's a very well crafted show. And I want to see what season 4 does. I don't know if it's the final season. I feel like it is, but it's a very fun show. I am also looking forward to Strange New Worlds returning, and the new seasons of Star Trek Strange New World, because that show has really impressed me, and I'm really looking forward to it. So
Awesome.
Oh, I did think of one. What is taking so long with the new Stranger Things? Is it gonna come out in 2024?
they're saying 2024.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
I got to catch up.
It's The thing is, I think it's good that it's the last season because
Yeah.
there's no way that it could.
Yeah.
It would start to really stretch credulity that it's continuing.
Yeah,
on
that's good.
beyond
This
that.
is the last one.
Well, and also the kids are getting older. Like they can't.
Well, and the girl that plays,
Millie Bobby Brown.
yeah, is it 11? Is that her name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, dude, like I want to start doing some other stuff. I
Yeah.
don't want to be typecasted my whole life.
Yeah.
Being in
Fair.
this.
Have you seen her in Enola Gay 1 and 2?
No.
Or no,
It's
sorry,
really
no.
good.
Okay.
Enola
Really,
Holmes,
really
sorry.
good.
Enola Gay is the bomber that bombed Japan. Sorry.
Oh my God.
That is so dark.
Wow,
I had to
Aaron.
explain myself because you would be like, "What
Holmes.
are you talking about?"
Enola Holmes.
Enola
Like
Holmes
Sherlock's
and Enola Holmes
daughter,
too.
Okay.
sister.
sister.
That's right. They're
And
related. I
bonus,
knew that.
Henry Cavill plays Sherlock Holmes.
Okay.
It's really quite.
They're both really good.
I love
Okay.
Both parts
of
1
the
and 2.
movies. Yeah,
I'll have to watch
it's good.
Because I do like her.
And there's talk, I think, of Enola Holmes 3.
Oh.
What season have you gotten through Stranger Things?
I've only finished season 1, so I literally
all right.
started it like for when we got back.
As a fellow music person, you'll love season 4
Okay.
because it
Season
really
3.
digs into
Season
like
3.
it's season 3. Thank you.
Yeah.
You'll love season 3.
Okay.
So like it's my encouragement to you to catch up.
Okay.
And as a Freddy Krueger fan, you will really like season 3.
Okay. Awesome.
There you go.
Nice.
There's
Real dark.
there's our happy note to finish on. Freddy
Freddy
Krueger.
Krueger.
Not any better than my Enola Gay bombing of Tokyo in World War II.
I'm just gonna throw this out there to maybe make you feel better, Aaron. Like,
Okay.
I do see that a lot of horror movies that I like are also very sexist. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
and they pointed out too, which is also kind of meta, but
Yeah.
yeah.
What I would love to see is I would love to see a horror movie that treats both women and like all the characters in that gives them intelligence.
Right. Not
Yeah.
stereotype.
Yeah,
Like,
because
Yeah.
that is really frustrating. And I think
What was that one movie we watched where they're like in a cabin, all these people show up, they're like strangers to each other, but they all like got the same message, and they show up and they're like they have to convince the really big dude. You remember that guy? Like
that is
Bautista?
very specific.
Okay, and they got like homemade weapons, and they're like trying to tell like a prophecy, and they're like in order for like you have to basically they wanted them to like kill their partner.
Oh,
or something.
Dave Bautista is in that movie.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know what
is
you're
the
talking
name of
about. Yeah.
That movie was really good, I thought.
I'm just so confused right now.
So
You don't
the,
know
movie,
what-
the idea behind the movie is that
We
the-
literally watched it together.
Okay.
so they're at there's the family is staying at a cabin, and these
Yeah,
four,
the gay couple is staying there with their
daughter.
Yeah.
And so these three, and I haven't watched the movie, but I've seen the
And
trailer.
it's like
so-
an end of the world type
yeah,
situation.
yeah. So
Yes,
they
I know
show
what
up and they
you're
say
talking
to make the to make the apocalypse stop,
You gotta start killing.
we got to kill this one person. Or you got to kill this
But
person.
they have to they have to convince them to do it, and
Right.
the longer that they take to do it, they kill themselves basically.
Right.
That movie, I didn't find any
yeah.
sexist problems in that or anything
Yeah.
like that. I
It
thought
blew
it was,
the ending blew my mind.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I can watch that one. Sorry.
It's really intense.
Yeah,
really
I don't like.
intense.
And here's the thing: I like action movies. I don't like terror, tense kind of movies because I like.
Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah, Cabin in the Woods. There it is.
What
There you go.
about what did you think of this is going back? Gothica. Did you ever see
I
that?
never saw that.
I have, but it's been so long.
I remember
don't
thinking
remember
that
much.
was
Fine.
intelligent at the time.
That's not the one with Halle Berry.
It is with Halle Berry. What did you think? Oh,
Like it literally gives me the chills because that movie like literally traumatized me. Because I kind of watched it probably a little too young,
okay, got it.
and just everything that was going on in that like
Yeah,
was a lot.
it is a lot.
Like honestly, I don't think I've ever seen a movie after that was that intense for me. Like that movie.
It's very
You
intense.
just brought up memories.
Because I'm like, wait, that does sound familiar. Halle Berry and then her husband, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
And, oh. Okay, we need to stop because now
We're gonna just
We're
keep.
very dark. We're in a
gonna-
very dark
we're
place.
just gonna keep going on.
Christmas next week.
Christmas
Yeah,
next week.
Christmas next week. We will
I'm
come up with a
excited.
movie to watch.
Are we gonna put a like cap on our list?
No,
Okay,
Oh
don't-
God, you know Aaron's showing up with 30.
or more.
4 pages, single spaced.
When we did our favorite
Times
video
New
games,
Roman,
Aaron's like, I
12
got
font.
42.
Yeah, I did that 42, and then I slowly but surely cut it down to I think like 20.
Dang.
Okay,
But it was massive. And Christmas is complicated because obviously there's a lot.
there is a lot
out there.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is we'll pull our list together this week,
Okay.
and then middle like towards the end of the week we'll say, okay, what's a common Christmas movie that we think maybe not a usual one,
Okay.
but maybe a different and unusual one. It's not usually one that we would watch. We may figure that out. Well, no, we'll you'll know when you listen to the next episode here
Put
on.
that cookie down.
It's a Christmas movie.
That's a
Really?
little Easter egg. Yeah, a little.
Okay.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
I'm just having.
Put that cookie down.
Wait,
don't-
isn't that an 80s movie?
No, I don't think so.
What is it from?
What is
It's Arnold
this?
Schwarzenegger.
Oh, Jingle All the Way?
Yeah. He's like
The
talking to the
cookie
neighbor. He's
down,
like, there is a remix to that on YouTube.
Okay.
course there is.
Someone took that line, put that cookie down, and made a banger song out of it.
Maybe we just do because it's Jingle All the Way, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we just do Jingle All the Way.
Oh, it would be
That's
exotic.
his favorite.
Okay, but let's do the list first because
Okay.
I want to be
We'll
fair.
pull
to
this
everybody.
together.
I
So
love that
maybe
movie.
it'll be Jingle All the Way next week. We'll see because I've never seen it in my life.
I haven't seen it either.
I
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, you're gonna love it. It's so
You would
funny.
like it.
Okay. Well, if both
It's
of you are
so
saying,
funny. You like the slapstick and stuff.
Yeah.
It's all there.
and I do appreciate a good Arnold Schwarzenegger comedy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there we go. All right, folks. Well, that's the end of it. We have talked for so long, and hopefully you're still with us. If you're not, well, hopefully you slept well when you fell asleep to our podcast.
Well, we went very dark.
Good morning, Vietnam.
Yeah, it was
my
like
God,
all
there
of
we
them
go
having
again.
weird
Now
nightmares
you're
that they
awake.
fell asleep.
We
Wakey,
are not
wakey.
an ASMR podcast.
What is that commercial? It's like a Bentley where she like rubs the taps the thing. And she's the Bentley, and then all the the cat.
welcome to AS. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm trying
well,
to do the
it's-
voice.
You did that perfect.
Well, there's like parodies of like people at with their like station wagon doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Or like whatever. Yeah.
That's funny.
There we go. So we'll leave you on that. Imagine yourself creating a parody of the Bentley commercial, which it just blows my mind that that's what you would do when you're like, who cares how your fingers sound on the grill of your car? Like, why is that a feature?
It's a thing. I don't know.
Apparently,
I don't get it
apparently
ASMR
when you
either.
have that much money. Ooh, I can care about the sound of the grill on my car and the sound of my tires and the sound of my engine. I don't know. Anyway,
It's a whole thing. Let's not even get into that.
I'm going to
rabbit
start
trail.
losing my mind. So we're going to end this program
Yes.
for now. Have a happy Thanksgiving if you're listening to us close to Thanksgiving. May all your turkey pile high and your mashed potatoes mash.
Have a
not
good
be
nap
dry.
after. You deserve it. Don't
Yes.
feel bad.
Yeah, take a nap. Go get some sleep. And then we'll wake you up with Good Morning Vietnam.
Oh my God.
All right, that's the end. My name's Aaron.
I'm Phil.
I'm so weak.
Vicky.
And that's been Nerds by Screenlight. Good night.
Good
See ya.
night.
Bye.
Lord.
The raspberry flapovers will be out in a moment. The kitchen is closed.
You've been listening to the Nerds by Screenlight podcast, presented by Create at Morgan Productions, located in Fort Morgan, Colorado, USA. For more information on our production house, other podcasts hosted here, and further details, please visit www.createatmorgan.org. You can find us on Twitter at the handle CreateAtMorgan. Create at Morgan is a school club at Lincoln High School, our alternative education campus in Morgan County. Our sponsor is Aaron DeLay, the language arts teacher at Lincoln. Send any feedback to adelayedteacher@gmail.com. Thank you for listening to our podcast.